Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful, cool morning here for the last day of September, and going to go into October starting tomorrow. October is a Blade's birthday's in October. My anniversary is in October. My sweet hubby, we would have been married 31 years this year. I want to take this time to tell all those that are in the areas, the Carolinas and Tennessee and Florida and all of the areas that were affected by the storms and are being affected by the storms, that our prayers are with you. We can't do much physically, but that our prayers are with you, that we're thinking about you, that we're holding you up. This last September is today's last day, National Preparation Month, Preparedness Month. And, their goal was to make sure that people were paying attention as far as your water supply and your bug out bags or your bug in bags or whatever, to have at work and to have at your home and to all of these things. And there was lots and lots of videos out on YouTube talking about preparation and what to do and all of these things. And of course, with this being the last day, tomorrow they'll switch into something else. But we don't need to get ourselves in a place that we don't ever prepare. We don't ever put up. Now, for a lot of people, me included, that's just a way of life. We put things up. We keep a well-stocked pantry. We have things. And one of the reasons that we are the way we are, number one, we were raised that way. And so we grew up with that mindset. But the next thing is because we have been affected in our life by natural disasters and personal disasters that have made us view things the way that we do. And I've had 2 house fires in my life when I was a little girl. And I can still remember the look on my mom's face and my stepdad's face. And they were young and had a house full of kids. Thank goodness that all of us got out of the house. But I could watch their faces as the house burned and what they must have been thinking. The next fire that we had was in 2008, back in Arkansas. Howie and our house burned down. And our neighbor came to me and said, can we take Blade to our house? And so they lived on around the road from us, and they took him. So he didn't have the same experience that I did, looking at your parents in the face and watching as the devastation is happening and everything is changing. Immediately, your life is changing. But I can still remember as Howie stood there in tears, and after the firefighters left, him walking around. Our house burned into the evening and late into the night. And I can remember seeing his face and seeing he didn't lose hope, because we serve the Lord, and there's always hope in him. But still, that's a hit and that's a devastation. And I can remember seeing that on his face. And we were late at night, probably 3 or 4 in the morning, 3 probably, trying to buy clothes, because we came home. We had been out during the day. I'd worked Vacation Bible School, making preparations for that. And we had then went to my dad's house for a cookout, and we drove separate because I had been working at the church. And so Howie went about 10 minutes ahead of me, and it was already on fire when I suppose it was smoldering when Howie got home. He didn't go directly in the house. He went into the shop where we had our business stuff. And in fact, when he came out the door, the neighbors hollered at him and said, hey, your house is on fire. And then I came down the road as it was already coming. The flames were already coming out of the side of the house. And so total, immediate life change. Later on, of course, you know that I lost Howie to COVID back in 2020, and immediate life change. Those life changes sucker punch you. You know, there's some things that happen, we get older, you know, we retire or move on from a job, or we downsize houses, or those are changing events. But those life-changing, life-altering events, those come in and sucker punches. And folks, part of our country has been sucker punched. And they're hurting. And it's sad and it's scary for them. I know some of them are still, you know, at the stories I'm hearing, there's still people trapped, and there's still people missing, and there's still people cut off. The roads are washed out. There's absolutely no way. So there's people right now that are in a lot of fear and questioning and not knowing, and their lives have been all just immediately changed. But I'm seeing some good things. I'm seeing people being neighbors one to another. I'm seeing people that are putting aside differences, because you know that we're different. You know that differences is preached right now. Big differences are preached. You know, we cancel one another out. If you say something I don't like, or I say something you don't like, then people are out to destroy you totally because you have a differing opinion than they do, or you're not this or that or the other. And that's a harmful thing to us as individuals and as a country, to be that divisive. But I'm seeing those stories come out where people are putting aside those differences and they're reaching out a hand to their neighbor. I remember when my sister lives in Louisiana, and I forget which hurricane it was that came through, and her neighborhood was flooded, and she had never, that was her first experience with the hurricane. Her husband's from there, and so that's where they live. And so she was worried and she was concerned, and her whole neighborhood flooded. And I can remember her telling me about walking out of there with rubber boots on and walking down through the streets or the street of their neighborhood, and you know, seeing all the critters trying to get to higher ground and all of that kind of stuff. But then you begin to see the stories of the Cajun Navy, the good old boys and girls that got their boats out, and they didn't wait for somebody to command them, someone to say, hey, you go do this. They just got, keep moving because the sun is moving and trying to catch me here. So, but anyway, they didn't wait for the signal. They didn't wait for somebody to say, hey, let's do this. They realized that a neighbor needed help, and they came to the rescue. And we're seeing stories about that now in the Carolinas and Tennessee and these other places that have been hit so hard. Here in Oklahoma, we saw the OG&E trucks. Now, OG&E, their trucks are orange, and they're not hard. They would be hard to miss, a whole fleet of them. And they were lined up and they were ready to go, and probably already there in some locations. And I saw a post on Facebook or Instagram somewhere of a lineman that from another company. I'm not really sure what company. It might have been multiple companies. And he did an aerial lift, and he was up on there, and he was doing a panoramic view of all the trucks that were lined up to go. Now, some of these people may not even know anybody in those areas that are affected, but they are going there, or already there, I'm sure, and willing to help their neighbor. And I know some will say, well, that's their job, that's what they do, but they are there and they put their life on the line. The emergency personnel, the police, the fire departments, rural fire departments as well. My Hallie was on the rural fire department, and they work too. They go out and they, do rescues and swift water rescues and all of this kind of stuff. And they're out there working. The hospitals, they're doing their thing. And the everyday person, the everyday individual that gets out there and does all that they need to do to help someone else. The individual person that doesn't have to do that is not required to do that by their job. They're not trained to do anything. But because they love others, because they see that need there, because they put any kind of differences aside, and they reach across the street, make sure that their neighbor has eggs or milk or whatever they might need. They share the provisions that they have. Those are the things that make us who we are. Not the divisive things, not the things that tear us apart or says, you go over here with these people and you go over here with these people, but the things that get to the heart of the matter, that we are a nation of people that should love one another and should be neighbor one to another and do all that we can to help one another. Now, I know some say, well, financially I can't do anything. Well, financially I can't either. I don't, it seems like nobody has a penny to spare right now, it seems like. But there's lots of things that you can do just to help someone else that's in need. Maybe you have an extra blanket. Maybe you've got a case of water. Maybe you've got something, and every area is going to be different on needs, weather related, winter is coming, and some of us have milder winters than others. You guys up north, I don't know how you do it. It's too cold up there for me. But if we got your temperatures here, it would be devastating to us, because we aren't used to that at all. But winter is coming, and it's time to think about preparations for that. Now I know fall just got here, but winter's right on its coattails, and it's time to think about, do you have preparations in place if there was a snowstorm or ice storm or anything that would cause you not to be able to get out, and to can you keep your family warm? Can you keep them warm safely? And you need to study up on the safety using generators and candles and all those things. Now, I'm a big candle person. I love candles. But I have to be careful more so now than ever with candles because of my 3 littles that are fascinated by candle flames. And you've got to make sure that you've got those things put up. So one of the things that you can use in its place are your outdoor solar lights that you use to light up your pathways or stuff. Those can be used as lights inside your house, and they put off pretty good light. Now, you won't be able to read by it or anything like that unless you're really desperate to read and get down there really close. But those are lights that can be safe in your children's room, can be put back out during the day and charged back up. I don't know if they come with an on-off switch, so I think if it lights up, it's just lit up until it gets light enough that it goes back off. But maybe you could put it in a closet or something if the babies are asleep and you need to turn the light off, stick it in the closet. There's all kinds of examples and ideas of things that we can do, and that's another way that we can help one another, encourage one another to prepare to do things that's going to help our families make it through the rough times, the tough times. Right now here in Oklahoma, this part of Oklahoma, we talked about this not too long ago, and someone had asked a question about free lunches and reduced lunches and free breakfast. And now here in our area, they are providing free breakfast and free lunch to all the kids that go to school there. There is a summer program. Someone asked me about that as well. There is a summer program that is provided, and I believe it's provided through Cherokee Nation here in Oklahoma. And it is, I don't know for sure if it's income based or not. I know that when Blade was in school 6 or 7 years ago, that we got it in the mail, and we had never applied for it or anything, but I guess they do it through the school. So there are some things that they can do. There are some, they're really good about having food distribution here for those that are in need. We have a few different churches that are drop-off points, and Cherokee Nation helps with that. Our church did our first distribution Saturday. It was on a small scale, very first time we did it. We had more volunteers than we had people that drove through and got things, but the people that got things were, we talked to them for a little bit. We didn't try to intrude, just loved on them a little bit, and they were widows and people that were living on Social Security and different ones that were just in need, and every little bit helps right now. And I was thankful that our church was able to do that. The food, the blessing boxes, is what we call them. I don't know what you might call them in your area, but our churches, different churches in our area, has a little boxes, I guess it's boxes, little wooden boxes made. Ours looks like a little church. And you put food in it, non-perishable food, and people can just stop by anytime and get out. And ours stays empty all the time. Others are staying empty. Different ones have been putting fresh produce in it from their gardens, and they'll let people know, hey, put fresh, so that they'll go and they'll get it. One of the churches has actually went as far as, so I don't know how they creative people, they've got like a little refrigerator with theirs, and they put things in it, probably eggs and things like that people can go and get. And y'all know the price, at least in our area, the price of eggs is just crazy. And it seems like a lot of the food that has been staple foods for people, foods that people could use to make things stretch, that those foods are costly as well. Another way that people help, now at our church, our people will bring their extra things. Like we always took eggs and produce out of our garden, and different ones in our church do the same thing. They bring produce and share with each other, and that goes over really well. We've got one of our gentlemen works for a big farm that grows watermelons and corn, sweet corn, and sometimes he brings stuff and is able to share. And it's a wonderful thing to have community, to have people that you can help one another, and not be so isolated and be so hurting and not have anywhere or anyone to turn to, and trying to be good neighbors one to another. We've had another program here the last couple weeks. I've seen it 3 different times. Apples. I don't know if a community did it or if an individual did it, or I really don't know. But 3 different times, twice, these big boxes like you would see where they would have pumpkins and stuff, full to the top of apples. Probably 8 or 10 of those lined up, and they put it on Facebook for people to bring their baskets and their bags and whatever and load up apples. And so Cheyenne and I took advantage of that. We got apples, and we went at the end of the day thinking probably wasn't going to be any apples left, and there was plenty. We got plenty, and those that were there with us still got plenty of apples, but nice apples. Now, are they the shiny apples, perfect, no blemishes that you get at the grocery store? Nope. They were the red ones were a little bit smaller, but oh, they're so good flavored. And but they're not sprayed. They don't have wax on them. They don't have any of that kind of stuff. And those little tiny imperfections that some of them have, those can be cut out, and those can be used, put up applesauce or apple pie filling or any kind of apple thing that you want to put on the shelf to feed your family this winter. My granny and my mom did that when we were little kids. They had access to apples like that. And they canned a whole bunch of apples. And through the winter time, well, before us kids went to school, Mama would heat those apples up, and we would have apples with different things. And you know, we were not sick children. We hardly ever did we miss. We were healthy. We got a hot breakfast at home, and usually we didn't get cold cereal because cold cereal was too expensive. And so Mama canned up those apples and we ate them. And I'm gonna do that same thing, can up the apples, and we'll be bringing some of those projects to you this week. In fact, after a while, I got to get them sorted, and I got red apples and green, yellow apples, and I'll sort those out and show you what I got and what we plan on doing with those. But I wanted to encourage your hearts to be good neighbors and to one another, and to not let them divide us. We're seeing good neighbors in these tragic stories. We're seeing people pull together, and life-changing, life-altering times. I've had good neighbors, and some of them are you folks that are listening. I had so many of you reach out to me when Howie passed away, helped me in ways that I will never be able to repay. But I want to encourage hearts just a little bit this morning to be good neighbors, to continue to do good, continue to look good, or continue to look well to the ways of your household. Look for opportunities to put things by, work on your water, work on the things. Some of you may not have been prepping in past, but you can start now. You have opportunity. So let's make the most of it. Let's make the most of doing all that we can to prepare and to be a good neighbor and help those. Extend your hand to those across the street, across the aisle, across the way. Here it would be across the way. But do what we can to love each other. I hope I've said something that encourages your hearts today, to make you stop and think about what the ways that you can not only prepare your own household, but how can you prepare for others, and to look for ways that you can make preparation by looking for those opportunities where you can glean from others. When there's opportunity, take those things that people are offering and do something with them. You may be seeing pumpkins before long. People may be giving away pumpkins. Well, not only can you do things with pumpkins for yourself, if you've got livestock can eat pumpkins. Or you can save the seeds out of those pumpkins and grow you some pumpkins next year. There's all kinds of things. Look for opportunities. They're out there. Look for opportunities to do good to your fellow man and be a good neighbor. Till next time, guys, this is Josie. I love you guys. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. And until next time, we're gone.